The world seems totally upside down and twisted over, right? I mean, red is blue and sky is falling and a smile pisses people off. Someone got hit in the face for smiling at somebody. So how do you make rational and proper financial decisions for you and your family in a world like that? Hey, I'm Jay Lieberman. Thanks for coming into the Real Estate Minute Show. Before we get started, I get a lot of questions about the stuff in my office. So I thought I'd just lay it out here real quickly of a few things I get questions about. And I'll show you real fast. So over there is a Star Wars Live Long and Prosper on the very top. Below that is a door from, I don't know, Italy. My brother goes to Italy a lot with my sister-in-law. And that's a door that he painted that I have on my wall. I love it. And below that is the Star Wars, right there, is Boba Fett. That's the patent from the original Boba Fett. It's a copy, okay? Don't get too excited. It's not worth $1 million. And below that is a Doctor Who picture right there, because I love Doctor Who. Another one I get is along this wall right here. You can kind of see, let me move the camera so you can see. It's a bunch of pictures of Star Trek and space. It's essentially a wall dedicated to a space tourism. Kind of a weird concept. So it's like, we can help you travel to Jupiter, etc. It's very cool. Love it. And up there on the very top, you'll see on the window ledge, I get questions about what that stuff is. And over there is Captain Kirk. On the other side, I have Captain Picard from Star Trek. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. And right up on top here, I'll grab him because he's important, this is from Star Trek also. I'm a total nerd. I feel like a total nerd right now, but just deal with it, okay? This is Zefram Cochrane. Now, Zefram Cochrane was an Earth guy. He's a human being based on Earth. And he invented the warp drive in the future, and he took his ship up in warp speed. And aliens, Spock's race, found him doing that and said, okay, this is civilization is now ready for us to come visit and let them know there's other people in the universe. So Zefram Cochrane started it all. And that is that. So we'll put all that into the drawer where it belongs and get to the meat of this episode, which is don't make financial decisions based on all the world events right in that moment. It's important to understand the world and what's going on, but before you buy a house, sell a house, buy an investment property, move money in and out of stocks and bonds and all kinds of things, obviously check with your financial advisor, your CPA. This is not financial advice. It's just, we talk about what I do, what other listeners and watchers of the show do. But people make decisions based on that day's events. And that day's, if you know the world today, that day's events are totally different than tomorrow's events. And next week is a totally different world. So if you're trying to play the market and make decisions to protect yourself based on that day, you will lose likely, because other people are making those decisions. So you're not in the Google board meetings when they decide to lay off 10,000 people, right? And you decide you're going to buy Google stock the day before because it sounds like a great investment and you heard that they're doing XYZ, but you don't know what's going on and they pull the rug out and make a sound decision for their business maybe, but not one for you. And so you can't control, you're not in control unless you're on the board of every company on the stock exchange. So I recommend that you just pull back from that stuff. You just take a breath, okay? You ever heard the clause, cash is king? Okay, that's something that I abide by right now, especially because if you're investing in stocks and bonds and you're heavy into that stuff, I'm not saying don't and check with your people, but you're putting a lot of risk on the table on what other people are doing. Like I mentioned, the Google example. I would rather invest in more cash positions right now, like CDs, which I normally would never touch. They're boring. They're nothing. They're 5%. And they're just kind of rolling in there. So cash is king means liquidity, which means having enough available so that when something does come up, like a good real estate investment where I focus a lot of my time, you can jump on it. And you can jump on it maybe all cash or 50% down, etc. If you own stocks and things, a lot of that's at risk. It takes a while to settle. It's a little bit illiquid. So that's just my quick advice here is just pull it back. Every time I want to jump into the market because I hear something from a buddy that says, God, you got to get into this thing right now. I'm like, okay. I get all excited because I love gambling. And so, but I pull back for a second and I say, okay, what would you do tomorrow if they just made the decision to pull 1,000 employees out? That is going to happen. So do I want to put that money up? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I want to put that money at risk because if you have it to put at risk, you do, and you just play around. But I recommend that for the most part, you don't. Don't put your family and your savings and your assets at risk like that, because there is a 99% chance you will make the wrong bet. We'll see you next week on the show.